Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Romeo and I'm making my first video on this channel to address the question of how long does it take to reach fluency? The first thing we need to ask ourselves is like, what does it even mean to be fluent? So in my particular situation, I'm trying to reach fluency in Spanish. At this point where I have been consistently studying for 2 years, although I'm conversational in Spanish, I'm not yet fluent. And I don't even know if I'll reach fluency based on my standard of what fluency is. So let's talk about it. What is fluency? Well, the first thing, if you do a quick search on Google, you will see that fluency means that you could communicate quickly, easily, and fluently, understanding and using the language in everyday situations without needing to translate in your head. If someone uses that definition based on what it means to be fluent, then they can easily say that you're fluent within 10 days, right? If the only conversation that you're going to have in Spanish is at a restaurant and you only learn what you need to say to make an order at a restaurant, then technically you can say that you're fluent. Or someone can say that they'll teach you the word hello. And if you know how to say hello, like quickly, then you're conversational. So there's all types of tricks of what it means or what someone can use in their marketing to say that you could reach fluency in 30 days or 6 weeks or whatever. But I think that it's crap. And I'll leave it at that. Because as a good example, like I said, I've been studying for about 2 years now, and I came across this book that's called Spanish Vocabulary Games, right? And so in this book, um, it's supposed to make like using vocabulary fun, but it's a bit overwhelming, and I will eventually get to it. But let me just give you an example about what it means to be fluent. So let's say if you want to use that definition of what it means to be fluent, quickly, easily, and fluently and understanding the language in your head, I would say that it depends on the conversation that you're having, right? So it's easy to fake that you're fluent on the internet if you're only talking about the same things that you normally talk about when you get in a taxi. Like you get in a taxi, you ask somebody, how long have they been a taxi driver? What's your name? Where are you from? Like you can reach that type of conversational fluency in 30 days. Will you be confidently doing it? Maybe, maybe not. But let's say you had to have a conversation about the government system. Just on this list alone, in this book, and there's like hundreds of lists in this book, there are words that I will point out that I guarantee you that someone who says they reached fluency in 30 days don't know a lot of these words. Let's say fatherland, head of state, legislator, monarchy, patriotism. Let's go to another list real quick. Middle school and high school. Let's see. Trigonometry. Maybe they know it, maybe they don't. Let's go to another list real quick. A list on dry cleaners and alterations. Let's say you have to go to the dry cleaners and you have to say some of this stuff. Spot, tear, thread, wash. Anyway, the point is, like, in order to be fluent, based on my definition of fluency, I want to be able to say what I know in English in the second language that I'm studying. And so I think that's going to take way more than 5 years. But in 5 years, I'll definitely have more conversations that I don't know now, considering that I've been studying for 2 years. Now, why did I choose 5 years? There's a couple of resources that you can use on the internet. You just type and you say, okay, well, how long does it take to reach fluency? And so the FSI, or the Foreign Service Institute, that's the institute that teaches a lot of our military members how to speak a language in whatever target language that they're using. And they have a couple of charts, and they say, okay, well, for languages considered easy for English speakers, then a language such as Spanish may take around 600 to 600 to 750 hours. Now, if you take that at face value, all this is doing is scraping the internet, right? There's a chart that says, okay, this is 600 to 750 classroom hours. So what does that actually mean? If you say 600 to 750 classroom hours, if you wanted to know how long it actually takes to reach that, let's say in 1 year, if you wanted to study for 2 hours per day, how long to reach 750 hours if studying for 2 hours per day. All right, 375 days. That's if you're studying for 2 hours per day. So that's more than a year. So at a minimum, assuming that you're studying 2 hours a day, which most people don't have the time, like it's going to take at least a year just to reach the fluency level that FSI is basically saying that you need to do. But FSI, those folks that's in those classes study for at least 8 to 9 hours a day, if you know anything about the course. So anyway, that's kind of like an intro of just getting the idea of what it means to reach fluency. So like if you want to study Spanish as a hobby and use something like Duolingo, then go for it. But using Duolingo or something like that, unless you're studying and also doing other things that we're now about to discuss, it will take way longer than 5 years if you're not dedicated to this, dedicated to reaching Spanish fluency as a goal based on being able to say whatever it is that you are saying in English or can understand in English in your target language. Now, that said, there's also different levels of fluency based on my definition. There's reading fluency, there's speaking fluency, there's writing fluency, and there's listening fluency. And I would say there's even a last one, which is like thinking fluency. So based on my studying so far of 2 years, I would say that the easiest to obtain is reading fluency if your first language is a language that's based on the Latin alphabet like English. Once you start recognizing certain patterns, and as long as you study the correct workbooks that's going to teach you grammar to put words together in Spanish, like it's easy to quickly associate the Spanish word into English. Let's give a quick example. I'm going to just bring up a random book and you'll start seeing a lot of the different words that's in Spanish and how they associate with English easily. So let's bring that up real quick. So this is one of the books that I recommend, and this is chapter 3, I believe, in the book. And this is one of their first reading comprehensions. So anyway, it's if you speak English and you start studying Spanish, you can absolutely determine just by looking at it that this is probably the word restaurant, right? Here's another word, right? Popular. You can easily discern this is probably popular. This is probably, like, you would maybe think that this is economic, but it's not, but it's similar, right? Excelentes, this is excellent. You can guess that this is excellent, and you could guess that, okay, maybe it's not that easy. Anyway, the point is, by the time you read and understand the first 4 chapters of this book, like, you will know this seamlessly. It's pretty easy. But anyway, my point was, reading is actually not that hard to obtain because you can easily guess words. Now, the second thing that it's easy to do is, again, speaking. And I believe speaking is easy because if you know what you want to say and you can do so confidently, you can say it. All right. It's easy to teach someone how to ask someone what is their name. And if you remember what is your name, then you can say that easily. Like, you know what you want to say. You can say, ¿Cómo te llamas? If you want to say hello, you say hola. If you want to say, pass me the food, pásame la comida. Like, That's easy. It's easy for you to say what you want to say when you know what you want to say. And as long as you have a good foundation grammatically, like, again, that's easy. Reading is easy. Speaking is easy. Writing, I believe, is also easy. As long as you understand eventually where accents go and what's the point of the accents, I think it's easy for somebody to write what they want to say. Maybe not fast, but if you can think what you want to say, and if you can say it, then you can very likely write it, as long as you understand the alphabet. Now, the hardest thing I believe to obtain, at least for me, for fluency, is listening. And listening is an entire beast on its own, because there are several components to listening, which is why I believe that which is why I believe it's going to take so much time to reach the level of fluency that I want. When you have to listen to someone, you have to, number one, know what they're saying. And that takes several elements. That pretty much takes knowing not only textbook vocabulary, such as textbook vocabulary in here, but you need to know the different ways that people talk, the different ways that people slur their words together, the different regional variations of a certain word. There's so much that goes into listening. There's all of that stuff. It's insane. And if you don't understand those different variations, like, you can easily get discouraged after, let's say, the 2-year mark that I'm at right now. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Here are 3 different variations of the way people speak on videos that you could quickly search on YouTube. So here's the first one.
Aprender español con historias es una de las mejores formas de mejorar tu español, porque cuando estás escuchando una historia completamente en español, obligas a tu cerebro a tener que dejar de traducir.
So she speaks very deliberately, and she understands who her audience is. Her audience are people who are trying to learn the language that she is talking. Right? So that's pretty easy. I'm at the point where I can understand anything that she pretty much says because I've learned what she has taught. But let's go to another video. And this is where I would argue that someone who says they're fluent within 30 days probably can understand. Maybe, maybe not. So let's go.
Viaje 3 horas antes, un vuelo internacional. Y hoy estamos volando con Avianca, amigos. Hola, 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 hola. Amigos, y me encuentro en la ciudad de Bogotá. La gente de Bogotá a caminar por la ciudad a ver qué tal, cómo está todo esto por aquí. Me están diciendo mis amigos que están regalando Pepsi si escaneas un código. Pepsi. Bueno, mucha publicidad por aquí. Miren, allá está como la competencia de Coca-Cola.
So Anita, she speaks very fast. Her words are very slurred, and for me at least, I don't have enough time to I don't yet have enough time to process what she actually is saying in every sentence that she is saying. Here's one more example of someone who speaks very fast with their words slurred, and she's in Cuba.
Y también, ya
comprarlo 20 para que nos dure. O sea, no.
Una caja de pollo de 33 libras. Siendo a partir de los 4.000 pesos cubanos por al lado de la cafetera. Casi me la explota. No era el problema de reabastecernos.
De uso diario en general.
En muchos otros lugares no venden. Que por acá me resuelvo el tema de la leche, que está súper complicado. Porque fueron 10.000 pesos.
En los últimos videos me he estado...
So Lisa, again, in Cuba, she speaks really fast. Not only does she slur her words, she doesn't complete a lot of her words as far as I would want to hear grammatically speaking, or she doesn't enunciate a lot of her words. And not only that, all of her clips are quick clips that bring all her sentences together so that her videos go fast. And so That's a level of fluency that probably is going to take a long time to get because I have to know what she said and then be able to process exactly what she said very quickly. So that's why I say that there's like a wide variety of what it means to be fluent and how long it would take. It depends on how long you're studying, the things that you're doing, and everything. So in summary, how long does it take to become fluent? Well, as anyone who's going to not sell you something should tell you, it depends. So Maxwell Gladwell has a book called Outliers. And in this book, he suggests that it takes approximately 10,000 hours of deliberate practice to achieve mastery in any complex skill. And I would call language learning as an adult a complex skill. And so for this, I say, you know what? It's probably going to take about 10,000 hours because I'm at 2 years and I think I still have another 3 years to go to achieve what I think would be at least halfway to 10,000 hours. If we do the math on this, we'll see that 5 hours per day for 5 years, like this is 5 hours per day, is only 4,562 hours. And so that's only halfway there. So it probably means that it's going to take me 10 years to get to the level that I want to get. But we'll see. Every day I show up and I practice in my workbooks for about an hour and a half. And throughout the rest of the day, I probably take on another 3 hours passively by listening to things or by reading. And when I have the opportunity to speak to others. So that's the answer. The answer is it's probably going to take longer than you think. And so if Spanish is something that you want to master and you want to be fluent in and you want to speak in the same manner that you speak in your native language, you have to stick with it. You have to show up every day and you have to just see what happens. So that's my take on it. If you've already reached fluency in Spanish, let me know how long it took you and share with me what your definition of what it means to be fluent is. And until the next video, thanks for watching. Peace.